Hello, everybody. This is Frogman, and welcome back to Manufactio. This is going to be episode 39. Yeah, we're almost to 40. It's amazing. I was kind of surprised at this point, but I guess we're going to keep going. We are still in the end, and I am currently looking away from the other end of this platform because I spent a good 3 or 4 hours fooling with this stupid project because it just didn't want to work in the way that I had it configured, so we had to kind of rebuild it. And when I said I got it rebuilt, I decided I was just going to finish the project, or at least get it running to where it's supposed to be needing to be. So I have a kind of a goofy little structure built around it just because I had a bunch of leftover parts, but oh my god, I hate these things, and I love them at the same time. They're so good for what you're getting out of them, even on a basic level. None of these are infused, so like we're working with the basic level of Endergenic generators as far as they work. This thing makes quite a bit of power. It's not bad at all what it does. So we're gonna have to kind of step through this. I know it's finished. It's kind of a I spent a long time. I could not get this thing to work with the sequencers sitting right there. They just would not work. No matter what I did, I could not get the sequencers to work correctly because the timing was out and I couldn't get the efficiency I wanted. I also had to move the pearl injector to face this way instead of being under this one. And there is a little bit more final tweaking being done here, is that there is a sequencer underneath this one, of all places, because I couldn't get it to work anywhere else, that is doing a little bit of timing for that guy right here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to kind of step through the process. I also changed out the timer over here for one that I can actually shut off instead of the other timer, because this one, the RF Tools timers, you can set them to either reset once they receive a redstone signal, which means they're going to reset on a pulse or a constant, and then they'll start over. Or you can set them to pause while they're running, which I didn't really want either, even though would probably be okay. But they'll basically pause wherever they are in the time. So at least with the Project Red timer, I can just shut it off with a redstone signal. And it's currently set to about 2 seconds. Which is about the time it takes to, let the system clear out and start over. And I did go grab that, and I've run it quite a bit. We've filled up the induction matrix that's behind here pretty well. It's actually on a timer now, or I should say it's on I'm using an RF monitor looking at the top induction port to tell me how full this is, to tell me whether or not I need to stop. I've got a little bit of other redstone control going on in here right now. So basically, again, we've got it set up to where it's going to be not running as long as the base doesn't need it to run. So we're still going to be trying to use that amount of RF over there first before we start turning things like this on. But let's step through the process. So the basic idea here is that every 2 seconds in here, unless this timer receives a redstone signal, I'm going to send a pulse that's going to start the system. So what we do is we want to inject a pearl, and then again, like I said in the last episode, tell everybody to be ready for the process. So part of that process is on about the 18th tick here, which is where this is kind of default. You can go further. The further out on this direction, the more time you're going to get on the charging cycle, but that's just mainly, this is so that I have plenty of time. So 18 ticks, so this 2020 whatever, like this kind of deal. In 18 ticks, it's going to, as soon as it gets that, it's going to send a ender pearl into this generator right here, which that generator is going to instantly fire that thing as soon as it gets it, which is going to come over to this generator, which I should be able to do this kind of stuff. Well, we have the wrench if we need it. So what we want to do is we want to tell this generator to be ready for that pulse, or to receive that thing. So on the 8th tick here, 18, 8, 10 before, it's going to be told to charge, so that it will receive that pearl on the 10th tick. So that means we can get the max amount of efficiency out of this. And the other, like I said, that's the 10th tick, maximum efficiency. So we're going to kind of work around this. This line is the charging cycle for the initial firing process. So some of these are going to be a little wonky just because of how Minecraft calculates time. Because even though it's precise, it's random. So it's going to randomly assign a block time to all of these various things. So if you look at this one, it's on the 8th. This one's on the 10th, which it should be right here. So that's fine. This one's on the 11th. That's okay. It doesn't really matter. Basically what we're doing is we're saying, I need you to fire at a specific amount of time after that pearl is injected into the system. So it's kind of we're going to follow the process in a kind of a waterfall. Normally you would think about this. This is an 8. This one should be 9 or 1 tick after this one. This one should be 10 or 1 tick after this one. And it's not, it's 11. So whatever. I mean, you know, who cares? It's just because of how Minecraft does things. But on around the outside, we're going to just kind of keep moving these things down. And like there was a pretty good jump right there, I think. No? Somewhere in here? No, these are all pretty decent. And then, yeah, just basically the way this works is, at least for the charging cycle, if you're going to set one of these up in a like this configuration, you just kind of start with that. You start with an 8, and then you work your way around, moving 1 tick up, because each one of these is a tick apart from each other. So what that does is that allows me to charge those generators and make them ready for when a pearl is going to show up, because I want the pearl to arrive on the 10th tick and then be fired onto the next system. So how the firing cycle and the running cycle works is that because we're sending an ender pearl into this generator first, it's going to be able to be detected when it fires the pearl. So as soon as it receives it, it's going to fire it, but it's also going to detect it with this ender monitor when it's going to fire. So the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to send a signal on the white channel over to here, and it's going to tell, it's going to tell that generator right there, as soon as this fires, right over there, to fire whatever it has. Now that's about 2 ticks afterwards, which means we want to be able to fire, we want to hold on to them for a tick and then throw them as quickly as possible. So this is roughly 2 ticks away, because this is going to fire it, this is going to detect when it fires it, then it's going to come over to there. So it's like a tick and a half in between here. This is the only inefficient part because it's kind of hard to get this sorted correctly. This is also going to tell this system here, this is when it fires, is technically right here in this tick line right there. 2 ticks after, or I should say 3 ticks after, 12 generators, less than, 12 generators basically. So what we want to do is we want to tell this thing on about the 10th tick, or I should say the 3rd tick after this system, or a 3rd tick after it receives a pearl, to go ahead and again charge. And the same thing happens over here. So this is the firing tick for this generator, and the charging tick for the next cycle. So some of these are a little goofy, they might be a little off, but again, we're just going to kind of tick around the outside of it. So again, firing, charging, firing, charging, all the way around on these 9. So we're down here firing, charging. Okay, now the last part over here this is where it gets a little bit confusing. Excuse me, is on the, what is this going to be? That's the 12th, so 11th, 10th generator. We're going to charge immediately. So as soon as this ender monitor detects that pearl fires, it's going to tell that generator to charge. So that's technically going to be within that region here. So that's around the number. So like I said, the two ticks in between the other ones that we had before, so the fire charge. So this is going to be the charging tick, and this is the firing tick. So like I said, as soon as that one fires it, it's going to charge, and then 10 ticks later, once that pearl gets all the way around over to there and comes into it, it's going to charge it. Or it's going to fire it. The same thing goes to here. For some odd reason, this one wants to charge on the 10th tick and fire on the 9th. I have no idea why. It's just being silly. Or 8 ticks later, excuse me. The last one, and this is the thing basically here, is the last one does it again. We're going to charge it on the 2nd tick. We're going to fire it there, and then 2 ticks later, I'm going to send it another charge just in case. This is the just in case kind of thing. If I lose a pearl, I need to be able to tell this thing to immediately charge again. So that's part of the process. Now, I was having some problem with the efficiency on this one. And that's kind of the reason why, or the efficiency, there's efficiency problems on both of these two, I should say. Where once you get it running, these two are going to be sitting at about a 9, meaning they're going to be receiving pearls at 9. So I need to give them an extra, hey, you wake up kind of thing. So we're going to detect off of this generator. So once it makes a full circle, this generator is going to then be told, or this Ender monitor is again going to say, I saw a pearl be fired. It's going to tell this sequencer to immediately charge just in case, because I think it wants to be charged at a little bit different spot. And we're going to tell this one to charge at 1 tick past that, just to make sure that they're waking up and being ready. For whatever reason that's in there, because what the problem is this charging tick right here needs to be right here, and I can't get to it on this cycle. And there's no way to make it any longer without breaking the rest of the system. So, yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of deals. So, this is what you get when you want to play with one of the bigger ones. I'm actually looking at probably trying to make this a 16. Because, well, as long as you can keep this inside of a chunk, which we're getting a little close on this side, which is fine. As long as you can keep them inside of a chunk, then all of their timing works fairly well and fairly correctly. So let's put this back. And a 16 generator circle should fit just inside this. Man, I didn't build this thing square at all. Should fit in this circle fairly easy, or inside this chunk fairly simply. So that's just a whole lot of more power. Now, uninfused, when they're running happily, they make 4,000 RF a tick each. Uninfused. When they're infused, if I could get the infuser, which we don't currently have access to, they make a whole lot more power and the pearls live a lot longer. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and I think I just need to roll that one. Whip, tick. And it might take it a second to get it a good pearl that's going to run for a while. There we go. That first initial one, for whatever reason, is a little bit poor on the efficiency. But once that settles through, 4,096, that'll get a little better. 4,000, come on, get better, guys. Ticky a little bit. 4,096, they're all pearls fired, or pearls arrived. That's kind of the thing here. Get all the way around it. That one's a little laggy still, but whatever. Pearl at 10, pearl at 10, pearl at 10. Okay, so what we're reading here is it's showing how many pearls it's charged, how many pearls it's fired, how many pearls it's lost, when the last pearl showed up, which is at 10, and if I have the correct system going, so like we just lost it, it didn't get quite around it. There we go. So each cycle we're getting a little bit more stuff. Come on, charge up. There we go. And that's basically how it works, is it just sits there and spins pearls around and around and around and around. Sometimes you get a pearl that'll go for 30 seconds. Sometimes you get a pearl that'll go for a minute. Sometimes you get a pearl that'll go for 2 seconds. It's kind of one of those, as long as it's running, it's making about 50,000 RF a tick. So, yeah. Well, that's more than that, actually. Wow. Because I have this monitoring the output thingy on top of that. And I was expecting a little less than that. So 70 or 80,000 RF a tick. So 75,000, roughly speaking. That's not bad for the work. We don't need him right now. We need this to be running. So let's see here. I need to set you back up to about 50. And I'm going to leave that alone. He's going to cycle that pearl around until it's done. Cool. Yep. See, now we're going down. Actually, I think we were making more than that, for that matter. Yes, sir. That's why they're so good. So yeah, if I want to make more of these, I'm just going to be able to stack them right on top of that and use the same timing for all of it. So let's go back to the base. I need to go unhook something so that I'm not draining that system. So we're going to run over here and remove one little thing. Come here. Cool. All right. So I do have a it has its own quantum entangle porter device thingy majigger on the Ender farm, which is Ender farm, not Ender farm. Why am I using Ender farm? Doesn't really matter. That's probably why I'm getting certain things. That's okay. Cool. Whatever. But yeah, I've expanded this a little bit, made it a little bit taller, so we have a little bit more storage. And we're holding right around to, what is it, 3 billion RF, I think, at this point. So, and all of these guys are off, except for that one right over there because I can't shut him off yet. But I went ahead and measured off of this one right here in the end, so that it knows, it basically it's reading off of that to determine when that becomes when it drains its power out, because these things are technically batteries. They hold, what is that, 6 million RF. So once these drain down past a half point, which this is drained out or whatever, however this system works, then it'll turn all these on and it'll turn the Endergenic generator on. So theoretically, that's around 120,000 RF a tick. Plus the 50 that comes out of the 50 or 60, whatever it is, that comes out of those solar panels. So we're making some power finally. And the reason kind of why I went with those things is because of the fact they're pretty cheap, more or less. I mean, they're just some diamonds, some ender pearls, some machine frames. So yeah, it's a little titanium, a little gold wire, elite control circuits, a lot of this kind of stuff I've already got, but they're pretty cheap. I mean, these are not expensive. The sequencers are not expensive. Sequencers not very expensive. So for the amount of power you get out of them, if you can keep it running happily, yeah, it's awesome. And if we could infuse the things, they would make even more power. I mean, that would be those 12 would probably make 100,000 just on their own, easily. So, alrighty then. What I did want to do today is, now that we've got that process done, I want to start looking at going to the moon. Where is my button? Not that button. I need out of this inventory, please. Button. We need to look at getting towards the moon because we need to be able to start getting some of the resources off of the moon. We've kind of had a problem, and the problem is those 2 excavators that I had set up over here, plus all of these copper lines over here are all gone. So those 2 excavators, they're now empty. This is mostly empty. Those are mostly empty over there. I'm going to have to start looking at building another outpost. I think the next available one is going to be way over in that area. Of course, we've got a bunch of stuff over here, but we're out of your uranium, and we're out of the osmium production, and we're going to need a bunch of osmium going forward. So we're going to need to get to the moon so that I can get a few other resources going. The uranium I have plenty of as far as that's concerned, but we need to start working about the osmium and the unusual ore, and the only way to do that is to get into this stuff right here. So we need to start down this line. So the first thing we need to look at is the space suit and the pressure tank and the suit workstation. So there's going to be a couple of things we're going to have to make for this, which I think, since I've got this wonderful machine, we can do it. Give me that redstone. Space suit. Should be able to craft almost all of this at this point. So those are iron plates, glass panes, iron rods, which I had kind of set for a while, making a whole bunch of things. So there's that. There's the boots, the pants, and the fun part, which is the space suit. So I need to be able to probably go ahead and set these up on an auto craft, which is not going to be too terrible, don't think. So let's see, space suit. I need to set that together, which means we're going to have to make titanium alumide rods, which we're not making right now. Oh boy, that means I'm going to have to go set up something. Do we want to set up a lathe, or do we just want to cheese this real quick? Titanium, I have a bunch of those. Okay, well that works for me for right now. So, spacesuit. tank, go, which I should have quite a bit of this stuff still sitting around. And the fan, go. Is that a steel rod? That is a steel rod. I don't think I have any of those. I have 29. Perfect. And my auto crafting is starting to get a little full, but that's okay. No big deal. So I need a tank. Craft one of those, please. Start. And a fan. Craft one of those. Start. Go. A space suit. Done. Very nice. Okay. Now we need a, what else do we need in order to complete that? We need a suit workstation and a pressure tank. Suit workstation. Give me one of those, please. Thank you. Pressure tank. Low pressure maybe. And that I'm going to have to make in the rolling machine with iron sheets. So we need a couple of iron plates. Is it the pressure tank? Pressure tank, pressure tank. So steel sheets. So let's get some steel. 1, 2. Go in there. And run over to this dude and throw those in there. And those are going to get put back in the system. I don't know why I just did that. I needed steel plates, stupid. Steel plates. 1, 2. That. Okay, cool. And I guess I run back over here and grab these again. 2 of those, please. Tank, right? This tank right there is 2 of those plus that. So let's see. Will you make me a tank? You did. Cool. One pressure tank. Sweet. All right, so where's that armor stand at? Armor stand, armor stand, armor stand. I'm gonna put you right there. I'm gonna put all of this on this. Thank you. Now I know where you're at. I don't have to worry about you, and we'll put this over here. We have to do a little bit of modification to that system, but I'm just going to go ahead and get a few of these things set up. Get back. Rocket fuel. Chemical reactor. Chemical reactor. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So a chemical reactor is going to be what? Not much. Thank you. Fuel. Ding, ding. All right, so this requires 1,000 millibuckets of hydrogen, and 10 solid fuel makes 1,000 millibuckets of rocket fuel. So that's a pretty simple, easy deal. We're going to have to set him up. I'm not going to build it right now because I don't need to build it right now. We're going to put this away. Back. Assembling the rocket. Oh, let's see. Do we want to try to get into this, or do we want to try to do the next thing? How much time do we have? I got plenty of time. Oxygen and hydrogen. Electrolytic separator we've already made. Let's make a gas charge pad. Gas charge pad. How much of that do I have? That's a weighted pressure plate. And so 2 fans and 2 tanks. So fan, 2, start, tank, 2, start. I'm going to have to go get those guys set up, but that's fine. So charge, pad, go. Thank you. All right. Ding, ding. Done. All right, now we need to be able to do, we're going to have to set up a water and hydrogen oxygen separator system to be able to make this system work. I am going to build a kind of a little spaceport area somewhere in the base. That's why I'm not going to do it right now, but for right now we can just put that right there. We're going to build a little spaceport building area off to the side where I'm going to carry the various parts, pieces, things that we need in order to make this work. And we'll be building the rocket in that spaceport area, and it will have a place for me to charge all of my stuff up as well. So that means it's going to need a few machines, some water, some other stuff. So how much more fun can we get into? Assembling the rocket, I need a plan, a guidance computer, seat, 12, 1, 2, 3, do. It's going to be fun. Well, let's start with the launch pad. How much fun is a launch pad? If I can spell. Launch pad. Thank you. That's just concrete from advanced rocketry. Do I have to chisel that into concrete? Or is it any concrete? It's not any concrete. Okay, that's awesome. Concrete. We have plenty of concrete. I have 9 of them. Alrighty, chisel. Chisel. Concrete from advanced rocketry. And yellow. Dandelions. Bone meal. Bone meal. Let's just do this. A little bit of bone meal. Oh, look. Well, that was handy. 2, 3, 4. Oh, do I need yellow? Yeah, there's plenty of yellow right there. So just yellow and yellow. Perfect. Launch pad. Get that going. 1, 2, 3. Put those in there. And now we have our launch pad parts. So the next step is to make something along these 2 lines. So you want 12 fluid tanks. Let's see if we can do those. 12 fluid tanks. Tank. Can you make 12 of them? No, I need a few more titanium alumide rods. So let's go make a few of those real quick. We'll just grab that much. And the way that I've been cheating this is I've just been running up here and kind of doing something like I can get up there. Go down. Oh, those are the wires. What am I doing? Rods. I don't have a rod dealie anymore, do I? Oh, that's a problem. Can I make these into rods normally, or does it have to be through a press? It's got to be on a lathe, and I don't have a lathe. That's fine. I'm going to have to make a press, so crap. We'll mess with those later then. Let's get the rest of this up. I can probably just craft all this stuff in between episodes, but let's see what else we can do. What is this? Structure tower. What is that going to take to make? Structure tower, steel rods. I'm going to do about that many of them because we're going to need a pretty tall one. Is that enough? Yes. Liquid fueled engines. Engines. How much fun is an engine? Not terrible because I have all of that set up, I believe. 4 of those done. Good. Assembling machine, a seat, a guidance computer, planet ID chip. That's pretty easy to do. Planet ID chip should be nothing more than one of those. A seat is just that. What is this? White quilted wool. Oh, love it. Over here, go grab a little bit of string, because I have a bunch of string. Thank you. Get out of there. String, white quilted wool, seat. Thank you. Done. Guidance computer, guidance. Guidance. Guidance computer. Again, totally doable. Done. What's left? Guidance computer, rocket assembling machine. Whoa, where did we go? Rocket. I just need some titanium gears, right? Titanium gears should just be metal plates and a deal on a gear plate. So let's see, we need titanium. I need about, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. And again, we can just run this over here and toss this on these guys right here. Come on. Go. And those will just kind of toss up in the air once it gets done, so that works. So I'm going to have to set up a rod press just for some of this stuff because we're going to be needing a few of those rods. Alrighty, Dean. So this goes in like that, and that. And you can clear out. So the only thing left is the tanks. How many can we make right now? Can I make 10 of them? Go ahead and make 10 of them. Tank. Love it. And I have 4 of those. I should be able to make... I guess I can just go set that up and get it up and done in between episodes because this seems to be get a little bit long. But what we're going to do in between episodes for sure, well, next episode, not in between episodes, but next episode, can I have one of these, please? Is we're going to start working on this process. So we're going to put all of that away, I'm going to put that in there as well as this. And that seat, I will craft the next 2 of these and probably start designing a process for a rocket, or at least a sizable rocket, because we're going to have to get back and forth between here. There's also a little thing that we're going to play with because of the chemical reactor, I believe, that is going to involve not bothering with these. I can actually make these airtight, and I think I can insert, as far as I've been reading on their wiki, it's nice to build this, but you can make any of your current armor, ammo, whatever you want to call, airtight and usable wherever. So we may work through that on the next episode as well. But I guess for now, guys, that should do it. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye.